which means it's time for our local history. And of course, Harold Peacock from History Out There has a very unique story this morning. Good morning, Harold.
Yes, good morning, Damo. Go Queenslander on Wednesday, because this story is for them.
Yes, we've only got one more sleep to go, really, don't we?
Oh, look, there's no sleep for me. I'm staying awake. I can't wait.
All right. Now, you're saying that when the Maroons take to the field at Suncorp Stadium tomorrow night, they'll be playing with the heart of the Darling Downs under their feet. I mean, literally, under their feet.
Yeah, that's right. This is a fascinating story. Now, the old Paddington Cemetery in Brisbane, it was in use for 31 years until 1875, when the graves were gradually abandoned once the Toowong Cemetery opened.
Oh.
Now, some remains were exhumed, relocated, or just left there and forgotten as the place was redeveloped. And it's well known that the old Paddington Cemetery today is Lang Park, where Wednesday's State of Origin Decide is being played. Now, not all the human remains were removed, and so there's absolutely Queensland DNA under the turf on which they'll be playing.
Oh.
And there's one person still there who was central to the very founding of Queensland and is representative of that classic story of Australian history. Now, in 1840, it's not him, Patrick Leslie, but he was the first pioneer to settle the Darling Downs, and so it was Leslie who effectively began Queensland's first modern economic prosperity. Although separation from New South Wales, that blue mob, that was still a couple of decades away. Now, it was Leslie and a convict named Peter Duff Murphy who struck out in advance of the main party. Murphy was a convict lifer who'd been assigned to Leslie and who Leslie described as being the best plucked fellow he'd ever come across. Now, Murphy went on to become the district constable and later chief constable of Moreton Bay. The town of Murphy's Creek in Lockyer Valley on the Toowoomba line, you might have heard of it.
Yes.
It's actually named after him. Imagine that, a town named after a convict. Now, following with the livestock and the drays for Leslie was the rest of the party, which consisted of 22 men, all of whom were ticket of leave holders and convicts. Now, Leslie described them as being as good and game a lot of men as ever existed. He absolutely loved them. Now, amongst them was Duff Murphy's best mate. Now, his name was John Marvell. Now, Marvell was a convict who'd been sentenced in Liverpool to 7 years transportation. He arrived in New South Wales in 1833 aboard the ship Waterloo, which on its very next voyage was wrecked with a loss of 189 lives. 142 of them were convicts.
Wow.
Anyway, Marvell was thought to have been a descendant of the famous Andrew Marvell. He was an English poet, politician, and tutor for aristocrats on the Grand Tour. And a portrait of him actually hangs in Trinity College, Cambridge. Anyway, Marvell befriended Murphy and was assigned to Leslie's party that founded the Darling Downs, and which was so admired by Leslie. Marvell was a really important person in all this. Now, Marvell and the rest of the ticket leave men had actually earned conditional freedom to work and live in the district. And they provided the backbone of Leslie's workforce at Canning Downs and later Toolbarrow, which both are not far from Warwick. Now, their skills were essential for transforming open grasslands into functioning pastoral stations that we have today. Now, the ticket of leave men, including Marvell, were the unsung builders and heroes of the first viable economy west of the Great Dividing Range. In effect, they founded and made viable Queensland itself. And Duff's best mate, the convict John Marvell, he was one of those buried at the old Paddington Cemetery. He was never exhumed, and so his heart absolutely remains there today, now part of the spirit of Lang Park, which has powered Queensland teams to this very day. Damo, I don't think we should forget the contribution that Marvell made to our state back then and also on Wednesday, because I know that Marvell would be cheering them on, wouldn't he?
It certainly would, giving that little bit of extra oomph in the maroon step.
Yes, that's right. Inspiration, because under their feet are the very founders of Queensland itself, including a convict, John Marvell. What a better inspiration can the underdogs have than being powered by the heart of a convict?
Exactly. Well, mate, what a great story. Now, you're going to be posting this up later in the week, aren't you?
That's right, yes. On my website, historyouthere.com, and through all the socials, I'll post this story about John Marvell underneath Lang Park, and go the Maroons.
All right, there you go. I know where you'll be tomorrow. You'll be glued to the TV, won't you?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Inside where it's warm.
Well,
but,
that's right.
It'll be hot on the field for sure.
It certainly will. Mate, historyouthere.com is where you can go and read that story and many, many others about the Darling Downs. And, mate, always good to catch up. We'll look forward to doing it again next week.
See you then.